Okay, Boker Tov, everybody. It's good morning here where I'm speaking from. I want to continue with what we did the last time, only go into it in more different depths, you might say. I'm looking at page 32, which we basically are up to. We finish on page 31, the page before the break of the weekends. Words that had manishma, for or kol beseder, and ein chadash, there's nothing new. On page 32, you have similar expressions with one column on the right side unvocalized and a column on the left side is vocalized. And the rule that Zev Garber has given you and constantly emphasizes, do not look at the unvocalized Hebrew. No matter how well you think you know your Hebrew, please look at vocalized Hebrew that will give you a sense of the vowels that are involved, because unvocalized Hebrew occasionally will take a vowel represented by another consonant, you might say, and that's how the vowel is used with unvocalized Hebrew. We will see this many times, and I'll call that to your attention. In any case, I'm looking at page 32, looking at the vocalized Hebrew, and I see the words Toda Adoni. Thank you, Adoni. Thank you, my sir. When I look at the unvocalized Hebrew, quite frankly, that word Aleph, Dalet, Vav, Nun, Yud can easily be read as the extended way of saying the four-letter name of God, the Yud He Vav He, which Jews pronounce as Adonai in their religious services. That's exactly how you write it out. So without any background, one can easily read that word as thank you, Lord, rather than thank you, my Lord, in the sense of a sir, a mister, or whatever. That's where the Hebrew is so necessary. And when you look at the Hebrew, it says Adoni. It does not have the kamatz yud, which will spell out the word Adonai. Unvocalized Hebrew, you can't tell the difference. The next line is Aulo Davar, literally on not a thing. Aulo Davar. I look at her translation. She writes, "You are welcome." The Hebrew is literally Al is on, Lo is not or no, and then Davar is a thing, on not a thing. And the better English, as the coffin sees it, is "You're welcome." Alo Davar. It's not a thing. It's Alo Davar. And when Israelis speak, they have an expression, Allah Davar, Allah Davar. It's nothing, it's nothing. It's not the literal translation, however. The third line from the top, Toda Gevirti. The word Gevirti is the word Geveret. That word Geveret we've seen several times. It's the word that translates as Miss, M-I-S-S, as Mrs., M-R-S. Hebrew does not distinguish between a married woman and unmarried married woman. A Geveret is a woman. Gevirti means my woman. Well, what does that mean? If you want to say my wife, Gevirti. So the word Geveret could also be the word for wife. The E ending at the end shows possession. And that's what's applied here. Toda Gevirti. Thank you, my Mrs. Well, she doesn't bother with that. Thank you, ma'am. That's how Enda translates. But Gevirti means my ma'am. Possessive pronoun, my, that E ending. If it's strictly thank you, ma'am, then Toda Geveret. Again, you have literal Hebrew translated by me. You have the expressive Hebrew, which is Israeli style, let's use that terminology, translated by Edna Coffin. And then Alo Davar. She writes, "You're welcome." It's nothing. It's not a thing. The next two words, Slicha and Bavakasha. That word Slicha is the Hebrew word for sorry. She translates it as excuse me. Well, the word me is not found here. Slicha means sorry. You want to add the word me, then do so. But there's no Hebrew word that translates for that word me. Again, what's involved here? We read 4 lines, now a 5th line. Every line seems to have a different understanding from the book and the teacher. And again, I'm following a literal translation, and Enda is using a more colloquial translation. Slicha by itself means forgiveness or sorry, not excuse me. The word bavakasha, if you please. Well, that's another expression she's using. If you please. Bevakasha by itself means please. It does not mean if you please. So again, why is the author, who's a Sabra educated Israeli scholar, not be careful with a Hebrew? She is in the sense that she's not interested in grammatical, so to speak, translations. She's interested in a colloquial understanding of what Bavakasha can mean, and it basically means Bavakasha, excuse me. I will translate it immediately, or if you please, I would translate immediately as Bavakasha, please. Now, as far as syllabication is concerned, look at the word Bavakasha. The bet letter has dagesh in that letter. Bega kefir letters beginning a word will always be plosive. So a dot in the first letter, if it's a bega kefir letter, is a plosive dagesh kal. A shva on the first letter is always a shvana. It's not a shvanach, it's not the silent shva. If it were, then what is it closing? We're looking at the first letter. There's no letter or vowel before it, so you don't assume that shva on the first letter is closing anything preceding it. Ci is how you represent the first letter. Then you continue. The next combination is the vet with a patach. You have Ci and CV right now. And again, the letter bet is used. Only this time the bet is continuant. It's not plosive because of the rule. Begakafat letters or begakafat letters following a vowel or half vowel are never plosive. And that's what you see. You don't say bibakasha, it's bivva. The bet becomes a V sound. And then the patach under is a short vowel, and a short vowel should be part of a closed syllable, and that explains the dot in that kuf letter. The dot in that kuf letter can only be a dagesh chazak. The kuf letter is not a bega kefir letter, so any letter of Hebrew which is not bega kefir has a dot in it. It's unquestionable the dot is a strong dot. So the first syllable is CI CVC, with the kuf letter being doubled, and starts the second syllable, which is CV. And then you have the third syllable, the constant shin, the kamatz, the hey is the last letter, is a vowel marker, so you put the C in brackets. And again, we go over the kamatzim. The kamatz is a medial vowel, or short vowel. If it's a short vowel, closed syllable, unaccented. In the word bevakasha, the kamatz is an open syllable. It's not being closed by dagesh and shin. And the second last syllable is CV, also open syllable. The last letter hey is really not a consonant, it's a vowel marker. Bevakasha. The word bevakasha, please, comes from the word to request. The root of that word bevakasha is to request something. The bet, the kuf, the shin, when conjugated as a verb, levakesh, you have the PL conjugation, which we have yet to see, and in the PL first person, masculine singular, present tense, ani vakesh, I want you, I request you, I need you. That's what mivakesh is all about. So from that word to request, you get that word please. And what do you think is behind the word please? When someone screams at you, please, please listen to me. Please, I need your help. Please. There's a request behind that cry. Think about it when you use the next time that word please. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry if my mind goes this way. If please, P-L-E-A-S-E, means request in Hebrew, and then if you fulfill that request or make an attempt to fulfill it or help somebody else, then that person who's requesting something is very pleased. Spelled the same way, P-L-E-A-S-E-D. So please, requesting, and please, satisfaction. They're both spelled the same way in English. Think about the association. That's the power of language. The next phrase, rega, 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 rega. She puts an emphatic marker after that word. How come? Why not one of the other words? She could easily put it after the word bevakasha. or slicha, but she waits for the word rega. Rega means a moment. Wait a moment, as she translates, or just a moment, or hold it. Rega, 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 rega. Rega is meant to get your attention in Hebrew. Rega is meant to just listen to me. Rega, wait a second. It's a necessary cry of anguish that needs to be fulfilled when it's stated. Note the two syllables. Note the accent. Note where Kaufman puts the accent mark. She doesn't do that normally, but when she does, she's making a point. The accent is not the last syllable. In the case of rega, you have a short vowel, open syllable. The negation is not found in the gimel. So the syllable, the ratio of the sego is a short vowel, open syllable, irregular. That's why it gets the accent. And the second syllable, CVC. The gimel is a consonant, the patak is a short vowel, the ayin is a consonant. Short vowel, closed syllable is regular. That takes care of the word rega. Savlanut is patience. Savlanut, 3 syllables. CVC is the first syllable, CV is the second, miyukamatz, open syllable, is either accented or one place removed from the accent, and the accent is on the nun, vav, nun shuritav. Long vowel, closed syllable, irregular, is accented, savlanut. And one day, I think we already showed you that the root of that word savlanut is samak bet lamed, and that word as a noun, savel, is the word for pain, P-A-I-N. So patience and pain are connected from the point of view that Hebrew uses the same root letters for both words. Think about how they are connected. You have pain, you have to have patience. It cannot be cured right away. And go ahead with that. Pain, patience, and then patient. You don't behave, you'll become a patient. Get it? The words are different, but if you want to play with etymologies, they seem to be all connected. All right, we continue. Ein Zaman, there's no more time. Stop with all your derivations, Professor Garber. Ein Zaman, we don't have time. We've got to finish up the lesson. Ein, there is not. Zaman, time. The word ein by itself can translate as there is not or there are not. Chag Sameach, have a happy holiday. Whatever holiday it is, if you don't have that unique expression for that particular holiday, then use a general greeting, Chag Sameach, happy holiday. I guess it's like English, happy holiday. But for Hebrew, almost every holiday has a distinctive, particular identifying marker by it. And if you're ever in doubt, say Chag Sameach. Gam Lachem, also the lamed with pronominal endings. This is a second person, masculine plural. Also to you. Lachem is you, second person, plural, masculine. If I want to say also to us, then it'll be Gam Lano. Also to you, singular, Gam Lachem. This is Gam Lachem. The next phrase, Rishat Shalom the Rivka, regards to Rivka. Rishat Shalom the Dan, regards to Dan. And on that word Rishat, let me perhaps do a little etymology with you. The word Rishat is the construct of the word Risha. Every Hebrew noun has 3 different states. The word we're working with right now is the word Risha. Watch what I'm doing. First thing you do is make sure you have a pen that writes. Second thing, check your spelling. The word Risha. Second stage is Hadrisha. And the third stage is Rishat. Let's write that word here.
Was the construct the absolute? Is that
That's
what
right.
that is?
Right. Stage number one to every noun is what's called the absolute. The word as it exists in the library in its pure form. If you want to add a English phrase, it's the absolute. Add the word a or an before it. Drisha means regards. Drisha. It ends with a kamatse. Let's go over some review right now. Words ending with the following markers. The kamatse. Segotav. Kirikyotav. Shuruktav. There are exceptions, but this is a normal form. Words ending with these last syllables are probably feminine singular nouns. The word drisha in English is what? Not masculine or feminine, it's neutral. Hebrew doesn't have a neutral column. The word, however, ends with a kamatse, unless told otherwise. I'm assuming it's feminine, which means any adjective I use with this word should be in the feminine gender. Then I have that word drisha with a hey in front of it and a patach. This is the definite article, and this is called the definite state of the noun. This is indefinite, a request. This is definite, the request.
Excuse me, can you explain what an adjective is?
An adjective is a word that modifies a noun. The regards are good. Well, regards is good. I guess in English, the word regards is treated as a singular corporate noun. Am I right? The regards are good or the regards is good? Don't even know myself. Again, in English, you have words ending with S are supposed to be feminine markers, but there are a number of English words that end with an S that govern the singular, like the word news, N-E-W-S. Regards, I believe, governs the singular. If you have a verb that follows the word is, for example, or are. Just keep in mind how the formula works. Definite state is with the definite article. Regular state of the noun is the noun without any articles in front of it. And then you have what's called the smichut, the construct state, in which the noun depends upon another word in that sentence. And the kamatse in the smichut, the construct form, develops into a patach tav. Drishat. Drishat shalom means regards of peace. Not regards peace, regards of peace. The Drishat is being possessed now by that word shalom. Drishat shalom. Israelis have a tendency of abbreviating the two words, and they simply say dash. Dash to your family, dash to your brother, dash to your dog. They say dash. The dalet is drishat, and the shin is shalom. And then back to these guys. See the dot in that dalet? See the dot in that dalet? They're not the same dots. A beggar careful letter beginning a word, dagesh kal. A beggar careful letter in the middle of a word may or may not be a dagesh kal. If it follows a short vowel, chances are it's dagesh chazak. There are all kinds of things that can be read into this word now.
The difference between the Dagesh Kal and Dagesh Kazak?
Dagesh kal, dagesh chazak, right?
One at the beginning, one doubles the letter.
Yeah. The dagesh chazak is never at the beginning, first letter of the word. It is always in the middle of the word for our purposes. Its purpose is to double the letter to close the short vowel before and to start the next syllable. So Hadrisha will be CVC, the Hey, the Patach, the Gesh Chazak, and the Dalet. Dalet is doubled. C Ayin, that's a Shvana. CV, the Resh has a long hearing to it. And the last syllable is CV with a C in brackets.
So then the other one would be whether beta kappa letters begin a word, then it would have the dot, and that would be.
If a beggar careful letter begins the word, yes.
And the dalet is a beta kappa letter?
Yes, it is. And also in the middle of a word, if a beggar careful letter follows a consonant or saying the same thing as following a shvana, it also has a Dagesh Kal in it.
It's like it's beginning a
Well, let's give you an example of my last name. My last name in Hebrew,
syllable.
the Dagesh and the Gimel, Patach, Shvanach and Niteresh. The next letter gets a Dagesh. The Dagesh is not a Dagesh Chazak. The Dagesh is Dagesh Kal. It is following a consonant. It's as if that Shva is not written there. It should not be, but we do it out of sympathy that every letter should have a companion to it. So a Begakef, a letter following a consonant, not a vowel or half vowel, in the middle of the word, we also have Dagesh Kal. You got two Dagesh Kals here. One in the Gimel at the beginning of the word, and one in the Bet in the middle
And the
of the word.
Beta Kappa letters to review are?
Sorry?
The Beta Kappa letters are?
Begakef is the same as Begakefat, yes.
There's how many, 5 or 6?
6. All right, let's give you the 6 Begakef letters. Letters 2, 3, and 4 of the alphabet, and Kaf, Pe, and Tav. These are the 6 Begakef, they're called. This is just simply a device to remember them. Notice how I pronounce it, Begakefet. I don't say Begakepet, right? The Pe letter is continuant. Should it not be a Dagesh Chazak there, closing the Sego? But these are not words, this is just a device. And if you want to be cute about it, you accent the first syllable in both of these words. Begakefet. Anyway, it's just a device. Others use this name, Bigad Kefat. Again, this is not Hebrew grammar. It's just a way to remember the 6 letters. Bigad Kefat letters or Bega Kefet. The 2 terms are interchangeable. Now back to the word Drisha. The shoresh of this word Drisha, the root of this word Drisha, is a Dalet, a Resh, and a Shin. That root means to request something. To request. And watch what I'm about to do. With a Dalet, Resh, Shin, you have a corpus of rabbinic literature called the Midrash. The Midrash is interpretation. The Midrash is not like the Mishnah. The Mishnah or Mishnah, 2 different pronunciations. Mishnah, or most probably the better one is Mishnah, is in Hebrew, or rabbinic Hebrew of the time, and it is not Aramaic. It's supposed to be the successor of the Torah. And then that gets interpreted by what's called the Aramaic Gemara. This word is Aramaic, by the way, Gemara. The word Mishnah with the Shin Nun Hey means to repeat something. Repetition. Repeating means what? You read a law or you read a custom. You don't understand. You just read it, read it, read it, see problems, and now start interpreting. That's what Mishnah is about. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Do you take that literally? Do you not have value to this? That's what Mishnah is about. And the Gemara is the next generation of rabbis or sages who essentially their words are supposed to be the final ones. The Bavli from Babylonia or the Yerushalmi from Israel's Jerusalem. The thing is, you also have a Midrash. The Midrash is narrative which tells stories, theology, hypotheses, angels going up and down, that type of stuff. It's like you have in all cultures. You don't just simply follow legalisms. There are There are stereotypes that come from this. I'm just trying to show a connection. The midrash and the word drash, interpretation, and the word drisha, regards. They are all somehow connected. When you see it that way, that's one way to reinforce your Hebrew, I might add. Okay, as we now continue, the word makara, what happened? Makara. And here you see the word properly vocalized. The unvocalized Hebrew cannot help you. It's the vocalized Hebrew where Enna writes the word ma. Something you don't know. She has not taught us grammar at all. Professor Ze'ev Garber is teaching grammar, etymology, theology, everything all together. The word what in Hebrew is normally spelled this way. That hey letter does not exist. It's a vowel marker. That patach is a short vowel. But that ma letter can also be pointed with a kamatz. And that ma letter can also be pointed with a segul. There are three different pointings of the word what. Ma with a patach is the normal one. Ma with a kamatz is more rare. And me is probably rarest of all. Now watch the drama. The word ma means what. And what I just said, you, the student, are now going to say, what? What are you saying? Watch what I'm going to say. The word ma is not written by itself. Whenever you use the word ma in a Hebrew phrase or whatever, it depends upon the next word. That is why Edna writes the word ma, and then the next letter of the next word, she puts a dot in that letter. Makara. What happened? That gesh and the kuf does not belong there. The kuf is beginning the word. What is it closing? It's closing this word before it, that patach underneath that mem. The word ma is never by itself. It depends upon the next word. Makara. Now what if the next word cannot take a dagesh chazak? Four laryngeals, the aleph, the ayin, the hey, the chet, and the letter resh. The ma will be pointed with a kamatz. Why so? Because the four laryngeals and the letter resh cannot be doubled. They do not take a dagesh chazak. Well, what about meh? What about meh? If the next letter has an aleph, an ayin, a hey, a chet, and the vowel is a medial kamatz, then the ma word is pointed as a segul. The classic example is what's new, mechadash, not machadash, mechadash. Every Israeli who's intelligent will say that. See the word chadash, the chet letter cannot be doubled, has media kamatz under it. The mem is not going to be pointed by a patach or media kamatz, but a segul, mechadash. She's not interested in these points yet. I am. And then the word shum davar. Shum means not a thing. Davar is a thing. Shum is not, I guess. Shum davar. Let me see how she translates that word. She puts the word nothing. Well, not a thing is a long way of saying nothing. Nothing is not a thing. Ezra and Hatzilu. What's the difference between the two? One is the noun, Ezra, help. Hatzilu is the verb, help me. Hatzilu. In translation, you get the same translation for both. You have help, help. But one is the noun Ezra, and the other one is the verb in a masculine plural or in a mixed plural, male and female. Hatzilo, hatzilo, save, help. That word Ezra, let's just get that word down for a second. I know the beginning student doesn't go through all this. I think it's necessary. To begin with, the word Ezra is a name. Ezra and Nehemiah. The name, however, is spelled, let's write it properly, with an aleph. Ezra is the name, and the word help as a noun, Ezra is with a hey. In pronunciation, they're both pronounced the same way. Let's take the noun Ezra. This is the absolute form. Ha Ezra, you add your definite article. The ayin cannot be doubled, so it's pointed with a kamatz. Ha Ezra. And then you have the construct of the word. The word would be Ezrat. Again, the kamatse becomes a patak tav. Ezrat means help of. And I find it interesting that in traditional Orthodox synagogues, where mixed seating between men and women is forbidden during prayer, there's a separation. The men sit in the center of the hall, the women sit alongside, or they sit on the second floor, overlooking downstairs. But the women's section is called Ezrat Nashim. Ezrat Nashim. I find it interesting that men who can learn from this are not present when I talk this way. Ezrat. Ezrat means help of women. That's that word Ezra as a construct now. The women's section with the women singing and their melodious voices are like a help, an inspiration, you might say, to the men who normally follow a certain didactic way of prayer. Just playing upon words. Ezrat Nashim, the women's section. It means literally the help of the women. Okay, I think we've covered these words here. Well, actually, you have one more word, the word sheket. That word sheket, notice you use an emphatic marker following the word sheket. Sheket means quiet. Sheket means silence. It's a very expressive, explosive word. Sheket bevakasha. Sheket bevakasha. The bevakasha is please. And sheket is what's being demanded. Silence, quiet. It's a library building. Please keep your voices down. Sheket. Okay, we're now going to take a look at the next page in which we have a number of readings. If I think a word needs to be analyzed on the board, I will so do so. But for me, at this time, let me just simply sit and read the words. Again, if you have a text in front of you, it will help. If you don't, then maybe one day you'll pick up one. Or just simply hear my oral transmission of the words. I'm looking now at page 33. The writing in this page does not have vocalized Hebrew, which is where they're saying there's enough of the vocalized, unvocalized for the student to master how to read with unvocalized Hebrew. Sikha Aleph. The first statement is Sikha. Sikha means conversation. Sikha. Shalom Dani. Shalom Daya. Now, if Dahlia is going to ask Dani, she would say, Ma Shlomaha, Dani. Again, that word Shlomaha can be read as the word Shlomich. But since you see the subject is Dani, then chances are the word Shlomaha is meant. Ma Shlomcha, Dani. And then again, that word Ma has a patak under it, and the word Shlomcha has a dagesh chazak in that shin. Again, keep in mind that the vowel and that mem letter is not independent. The combination will be affected by the next combination. And we say Ma Shalom Maha. We don't say Mash. It's Ma Shalom Maha. That gesh, that shin, that gesh chazak. From the beginning again. Shalom Dani, Shalom Dahlia, Ma Shlomacha Dani, Tov Todah, Ma Shlomech, Shlomi Tov. And then Meh Chadash, Ein Chadash. Okay, you guys do Meh Chadash here. The men point to the Segol. The Shlomi is I am fine. It could be masculine or it could be feminine. But if you go back to the sentence, you have Shalom Dani, Shalom Daya, Ma Shalom Chad Dani, and he responds Tov, Todah, saying to her, Ma Shlomech, how are you? She responds, I'm okay, Shlomi Tov. And Meh Chadash, what's new? Ein Chadash, there's nothing new. The second Sikha, Ma Shemech Gevirti. That word Shemech, what is your name? This is the word Shem with pronominal endings. The Shlomacha and Shlomech is the word Shalom with its pronominal endings. So Ma Shemech. How do I know it's Shemech and not Shemcha? Because Gevirti is being addressed. Ma Shemech Gevirti. Shemi Esther Cohen. What is your name? Ma'am, what is your name? And she responds, Shemi Esther. My name is Esther Cohen. Eifo Adgara. Where do you live? Ani Gara B'Haifa. Me'ez Rehov Adgara. What street do you live? She responds, Rehov Hayam. Okay. My mind is wandering a little bit. All right, let's go on with the next paragraph. Sichak bet here. Ma Shemech Gevirti, what is your name? Shemi Esther Cohen. We did this before. Eifo Adgara, Ani Gara B'Haifa. Me'ez Rehov Adgara, what street you live on? Rehov Hayam, in the street of the sea. Sikha Gimel. Boker Tov Moshe, Boker Tov David. Ma Nishma Beseder. That Boker Tov is a little confusing. It's that O sound, the Midah Olam, without vowels. You write a vav there to create the O sound. That's a word that can be confusing. The word written as it is could be the word boker. The word bakar is cattle. A boker is one of the words that works with cattle. Manishma, again, we write the word Manishma. Mem is a patach under it, and Dagesh Chazak in the noon. What's happening? Manishma, Beseder. Everything is okay. Chag Sameach, Gam Lachem. Happy holiday, also to you. Sicha Dalet on page 34. Slicha Adoni, Cain. Slicha, Efshar Lashevet. Excuse me, sir. Yes. Excuse me. Is it possible to sit Lashevet? Rega, Rega. Wait a minute. Rega, Rega. Adoni. And then the response is Savlanut. I guess this is meant to create a sense of drama. Let's do it again. Slicha, Adoni. Cain. Slicha, Efshar Lashevet. Rega, Rega. Savlan, Adoni, Adoni. Savlanut. Sicha He on page 34. Makara, what happened? Shum davar, nothing. Efshar Lashevet. Is it possible to sit? Bavakasha, Manishma, what's happening? Ein Chadash. There is nothing new. Sicha Vav, the bottom page 34. Gvirti, at Garabba Tel Aviv? Lo, ani Garabba Yerushalayim. Ma shemech, Shemi Dalia Kohen. A word be Yerushalayim. The bet normal point is Shana. In front of a word that has a letter, in front of a letter that has a Shana under it, you point the bet letter with a chirik. In the case of a Yud Shana beginning word, you drop the Shva completely underneath the Yud, so the final appearance is like a long chirik. Be Yerushalayim instead of be Yerushalayim. Again, the paragraph. Gvirti at Garabba Tel Aviv, lo ani Garabba Yerushalayim. Ma shemech, Shemi Dalia Kohen. Sicha Zayin. אתה גר בחיפה? You live in חיפה? כן, אני גר בחיפה. איפה בחיפה? Where is חיפה? ברחוב הרצל. Herzl Street, if I'm not mistaken, is a major boulevard in most of the cities of Israel, but certainly in Haifa. Sichachet, Ein Zman, there's no time. Savlanut Adoni, Ein Zman Gvirti, Savlanut, Savlanut. Conversation that takes place between man and woman, I should say. The question of getting something done, and the response is, take it easy. There's no time. Ein Zman, Savlanut Adoni, patience, my sir. Ein Zman. So the male was saying, I have no time, there's no time. First time he says Ein Zman, second time is Ein Zman Gvirti, and her response in all these times is Savlanut, and then finally the last line, Savlanut, Bevakasha. Sichatet, Erev Tov Yaakov, Erev Tov Miriam. Good evening, Yaakov. Good evening, Miriam. Ma shlomech. Tov Tada Beseder. Shal Hashevet came Bevakasha. Look at Sichatet, there's also a possible problem here. Erev Tov, good evening, Jacob. Erev Tov, good evening, Miriam. The Ma Shlomecha, or is it Ma Shlomech? Who's saying to whom that word Ma? If it's Yaakov to Miriam, it will be Ma Shlomech. If it's Miriam to Yaakov, it's Ma Shlomcha. And then, how are you? Responds, so, toda, beseda. And then after asking, how are you? Is it possible to sit? Okay, bevakasha. Yes, please. Don't think the subject who's saying this is that clear. The next paragraph is none more. Then she goes into writing exercises, page 36 to 37, and then a handwriting on pages 38 and 39. And then eventually we get to the first units on page 40. Okay, let's take a look now at the units here. What you'll have in this particular text is you'll have a general overview. So the unit number 1 goes into gender, number, and nouns, and what's known as independent pronouns, and what's called a definite article, and the gender agreements, and negation is used in the present tense. Then there are additional texts and then review exercises to reinforce your knowledge of the text. Okay, let me look at the words with you. And let's repeat some of them. To begin with, look at the unvocalized Hebrew. The unvocalized Hebrew will have in brackets the letter Nun or the letter Zion. Nun for Nekeva and Zion for Zachar. So that helps us. But before you look at the Nun and Zion word markers, see if you're able to figure out whether the word is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. Again, the review. There's no specific marker for masculine singular. There are 4 markers for the feminine singular word. The kamatse, the single tav, the short tav, chirik tav. The masculine plural marker is a chirik yud, mem. Long chirik followed by the mem. And for the feminine marker, it's a whole holam. That will help you. The first word used in the textbook is universita. Notice how she writes it. Uni, and then the third syllable, ver, sita. Here you have an unusual situation where the accent is not the last syllable or the replacement syllable, the second to last, but it's the third to last syllable. How come? The answer are twofold. One, the word is borrowed. A borrowed word in some language would not necessarily follow the rules of Hebrew grammar. Number 2, the word has multiple syllables. So in order to capture the word from a Hebrew point of view, we have the accent not on the last syllable, or even the second to last, it could be the third to last syllable. Do you speak the native language? Okay, so okay, the word university. Okay, so that's the reason why it's the university word. Again, as far as the gender goes, she indicates with the letter nun for feminine. We don't need that extra guide where it ends with the kamase. And in the plural, you substitute the kamase in order to call them tav. The next two letters, the letter B and the letter Ba. You notice the unvocalized Hebrew, you have simply the bet letter. The one with the vocalized Hebrew has a shvana 100 and one has a patach 100. What's involved here? Okay, for this one here, let me just simply get up and use the blackboard, as my mind is just wandering a little bit right now since Baruch is not here. Okay, let's just get on the board a second. So far this hour, we have seen the word ma, we've seen the word ha, and now we're going to see the bakal letters. So let me perhaps do it this way. Let me go over again orally the other two forms before we go into the bet letter. The definite article in Hebrew is normally pointed with a patach, beneath the hay, and the word that, and it's attached to the word that follows, dagesh chazak, the next letter. The hay would be pointed with a kamatz. Excuse me. The hay would be pointed with a kamatz if the next letter cannot take a dagesh chazak. That's the aleph letter, the ayin, the hay, the chet, and the letter resh. And the hay is pointed with a segol if the next letter has a laryngeal beginning word where immediately kamatz under it. So aleph, the hay, the chet, and the ayin. If there's a immediate kamatz under it, the hay definitely is pointed with segol. Second concept, the ma word. The ma word is pointed with a patach, dagesh chazak in the next letter. The ma word is pointed with a kamatz. If the next letter is aleph, ayin, hay, chet, and resh, cannot take a dagesh chazak. The ma letter is pointed with a segol. If the next word has laryngeal letters, aleph, ayin, hay, chet, and a kamatz underneath these four letters. Not the resh, only the four laryngeals. And now the bet letter. And where we're at, Baruch, we just started. We're found on page, not 40, page 40. We have two bet letters. One is with a shvana and one is with a patach. We're looking at the vocabulary of this unit before we go into grammar. The bet letter belongs to three letters known as the bakal letters, the bet, the kav, and the lamed. For our purposes, we will work with the bet letter and the lamed letter. The bet letter in translation has multiple words: in, on, with, W-I-T-H. The lamed letter means to, T-O, of. Basically those two words. It has other meanings, for, F-O-R, for example. The kav letter stands for like or as. My purpose is just simply what goes on with these letters. In English, they are independent words. In Hebrew, they're just one letter, not written by themselves. The letter is not written by itself, but attached to the word that follows. So using the letter bet, the bet is normally pointed with a shvana. You attach to the word that follows. But if the word that follows has a shvana under it, then the bet letter is going to be pointed with a chirek. Normal pointing is with a shvana. And what's true of the bet is true of the lamed. If the next word that follows the bet is in a definite state, like hashomer, I want to say in the guardian, whatever, on the guardian. The bet comes along, strikes out the definite article, takes over its vowel. It's ba. And so it goes. It's the next letter, if it has laryngeal under it, like a definite article, and the medial kamatz under it, then the bet will be pointed with a segul. Takes over the vowel of the definite article. She introduces just two forms of the bet with the shvana under it, and the bet with a patach under it. That patach implies that the bet is being attached to a word, has a definite article, strikes out the definite article, takes on the vowel as a patach. So look at the word that follows, miseder. The word is seder, and the bet is attached to it. Normal pointer to the bet is with a shvana. Miseder. The translation she gives is the word fine, okay, all right. Seder means, Seder means order, O-R-D-E-R. With the bet, it means all right, this type of thing. Fine, okay. The word geveret, we've used that word several times already. Notice where the accent is on the first syllable, not on the last. Why the first syllable? Because geveret has a short segul, open syllable, irregular, needs to be accented. Let's write out that word geveret. It's a very, very common word in Hebrew. Any woman you want to get attention, use the word geveret. Geveret does not carry the restriction of married or unmarried. It's a good word to practice your Hebrew vocalization. The gimel is a bega kefal letter, begins the word nagesh kal. Shvani, the first letter of the word, is always a shvana, shai, si, ayin. Then you continue with the next combination. The bega kefal letter following a half vowel is not going to be plosive. And it has a vowel under it, that, a segol. And then you look at it, you say your first syllable, CICV, the segol should be part of a closed syllable. The resh is one of the 5 letters, 4 laryngeals of the resh that don't get doubled. So that first syllable is open, it's irregular. That's why the accent is being attracted. Second syllable is closed, short vowel closed syllable is regular. Geveret. And again, the 3 letters that make up geveret are the 3 letters that make up a male. Gever. Gever is a male, geveret is a female. Gever is a man, geveret is a man. Difference, one has a segotav marker, which is a marker of the feminine singular. And then both words together, you have another word that's developed, the word gibor. Gibor is a hero, a heroine. Notice the words gibor, gibobet, resh. Notice gever, notice geveret. They all have the same 3 letters. And gibor, dagesh kal the gimel, short chirikanit the gimel, closed by dagesh sak in the bet. That's how you see it. You have 2 bega kefal letters. They both have dots. One is dagesh kal, the other is dagesh chazak. And the second syllable is CVC, long vowel close situation, gets the accents.
All right. You want to take a break now? I think we're coming up on, this is what, 59:25. We're going at 1 hour. You want to take your 20-minute, 15-minute break for your 1 hour?
No, sure I need a break.
Okay.